motivation today, and I just hope y'all ready for it.
Lord.
So it's gonna.
We're ready, aren't we, Deb?
I hope so. Mine kind of peaks and valleys big. It's not level.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's my trouble. I'm like on it one day and the next day I'm like, shit, nothing.
So what
I don't
happened?
know. There's like no happy medium with me. That's my motivation is like, I don't know.
I live on the extremes as well.
I'm glad you said that. So first of all, I'm so glad you said that. So that's right in line with what I want to talk about today.
Awesome.
It's so
And then I'm not the only one that feels like this.
Hey. Girl, let me tell you, we are going to put some principles into play today because you know one thing about principles.
What?
They work with anything.
They don't change.
That's very true, actually.
It is. So all we need to do is to begin to embrace principles.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you called them principles and not rules.
No, they're not rules. Rules can be broken. Ha, that's a good one. Now that's a tweetable moment. Rules can be broken, but principles cannot.
Oh. I like that.
Well, yeah, you're right. Don't call it rooms. You say, I have principles, baby.
Principles. I like that.
Here's what they are. Principle 1.
Principle
check.
1.
Principle 2. Check. Principle 3. Check. Principle 4. I don't know how many you have, but keep counting.
Well, so far I have 3 really good ones.
Until they understand,
yes,
what principles run your life. That's a
well, and they do run my life, and I want them to be in this life, but they need to rule their life too, not just mine.
Yes, ma'am.
They gotta match, because if they don't, and
they have to be in alignment.
Yes.
Here's what I am going to do. We have been doing a lot of things. Leslie, no, I haven't been all over the place, but in my transition, I have been creating. I've told you about P3 Purposepreneur. I just created a YouTube page where we're going to be putting content for P3 Purposepreneur. Welcome. I am, as most of you know, I don't know if we have any new people in the house. I don't believe so, but I'm Dr. Marnita on fire. So as we get into this conversation this morning, all on motivation, I'm excited to do this one because Leslie reminded me yesterday, and that's what I was in the middle of doing. She reminded me yesterday that we did an interview. Leslie and Angel has a podcast that is called On Your Own Terms, and I can't wait till they launch it. And they interview people based on their life and how they have decided to live life on their own terms. But she sent me a picture. She sent me a picture yesterday, and the picture was about something I said in the interview. But when she sent me the picture, she said, I'm gonna read it to you. She said, Dr. M, motivation, not knowing what I'm going to create in the future. And when she sent me that picture, and it's been a while since we did, I think it was in January or something like that, since we did that interview. And when she sent me that picture, I said, I remember that. I think I remember saying that. And I said, I think I remember saying that. She said, girl, you did. That's when it hit me. I said that during the interview because they asked me a question, and that was one of my replies to the question. And on the picture that she sent me yesterday, it said P3 motivation. No, P3 Dr. M motivation. In January, there was no P3.
Wow.
In January, there was no P3 Purposepreneur. And so what I realized, it really hit me. I know I said what I said, but it really hit me when she sent me that picture yesterday that I am motivated by moving into something I have no idea what it's going to be. And so motivation, I want to start this conversation of with the definition of motivation. And the definition of motivation is that which moves one towards an action, that which changes, provokes, or impels our very being. Motivation involves the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate behavior. Did y'all hear what I just said? Exactly. So when I really started breaking that down, in actuality, you know, cognitive forces that activate behavior, that means that is related to conscious intellectual activity. Conscious intellectual activity. And so that involves things like thinking and reasoning and or remembering, right? And often I do believe we find ourselves not thinking enough. Let me ask y'all this question, because everyone works here, right? Right, some kind of job that you work some kind of job. And I've always worked some kind of job. On a job that you work, and I'm going to relate mine back to, I've only had like 2 jobs. I've only been an employee twice in my life, and I'll be 60 this year. I've only been an employee twice. And so when I think about those years, being an employee, I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'll answer the same question. Being an employee, do you think you're being paid what you're worth? And if it's yes, put yes in the chat. If it's no, put no in the chat. If it's yes, put yes in the chat. And if it's no, put no in the chat. And the question is, as an employee, do you think you're being paid what you're worth? Okay, I see a lot of no's. Okay. Okay, never, right. I see a lot of no's, never. And so I know when I was an employee, they never paid me what I was worth. So think about what we're doing when we're an employee. Think about this. And I think I've slightly had this conversation with Leslie also. Think about this. When you're an employee, what you're actually doing in the sense of things is you're trading your time for a monetary compensation. And seeing that everyone in the chat put no, let me ask you this. You're getting paid for the time that you invest as an employee, right? So let me ask you this, which one is more valuable? Your time or your money? The money you're getting paid. If it's money, put money in the chat. And if it's time, put time in the chat.
I think it kind of depends on where you are.
And we're going to talk about that too.
Okay.
Fair enough. We'll talk about that too. That's fair enough. Okay, so what I see is one person said it depends on where you are. And a few said your time is more valuable than money. Okay, so fair enough. So let's take Deb's conversation. It depends on where you are. So when it depends on where you are, let's say if, oh, now this is a good one. So I'm so glad you brought that up, Deb. So if let's take the different phases of life. If you are in the earlier part of your life, let's say between up to 30. Okay, let's say up to 30. If you're up to 30, you have more ahead of you than you have behind you, right? So if we're going up to 30, the money that you're making may seem that it's more valuable than time, right? But if we take from 30 to 50, let's take another 20 years, right? Now, 30 to 50, the more we move along the time continuum, based on the analogy, depending on where you are, for the average person or for the majority of people, I think they would begin to say that they wish they had more time. And why would the majority of people begin to say, as we move from 30 to 50, they wish they had more time? Time goes along, and if I take it back to my parents' era, you work your 30, 40, my dad worked 45 years and you retire, you're always creating somebody else's kingdom. Mm-hmm. And you have very little time left over for your kingdom.
True.
You have very little time left over to invest into what you feel is most important. So then time, as you move forward, it doesn't matter how much money you're getting paid if you're coming home frustrated and stressed and anxious and all of that. The money doesn't matter. Yep. What you want more of, and at that period, in that season of your life, is more time. So if we look at it from that perspective, time is always infinitely more valuable than money. You can always get more money.
Yeah, but at 30, you don't always think that.
I get it, but that's what we have to teach. That's what we have to impart to our legacy.
Right.
Right. Although we grew up not thinking that, we have a moral responsibility to impart that to our legacy. You can always make more money, but you can't get back your time. Nope. So time is always infinitely more valuable than money. And I need y'all to allow that to marinate in your very being. No matter what stage in life you are right now, you need to position yourself in such a way where you can begin to redeem your time. We have to stop trading our time for money. Why? Because we have a purpose to fulfill in life, our purpose. And there's things that are stealing your family's legacy. And we need to readjust. And that's what this conversation is going to, that's why I started the conversation this way, because in order to adjust, we need to become motivated, right? So y'all know I'm a chemist, right? Y'all didn't know I spent 12 years acquiring a bachelor's, master's, PhD in chemistry.
Wow.
So going through the formal education of acquiring those degrees, I took some physics, right? And in physics, if anybody has taken physics, there's laws around physics, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to take those laws of physics and apply them to motivation. And so I have tagged this conversation to be principles of physics that scale who you are. The principles of physics that scale who you are. So we're going to go And we're going to talk about the physics of motivation. Y'all ready for this? If y'all ready for this, can y'all put "I'm ready" in the chat? Put "I'm ready." I'm ready in the chat. I'm ready. All right. Come on, bring it on, y'all. Bring it on. I'm ready. All right. So the first law of physics. The first law of physics is the law of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. That is a mouthful in and of itself. We always hear that. And I think cognitively, we apply it to things objectively. And what I'm asking you is to have a mindset shift here. I want you to begin to apply it to things that are subjective to yourself. So when we talk energy cannot be created or destroyed, the first thing that comes to mind is thought. Thought is energy. That thought in an energy form transforms into another source of energy, which is your words. Your words then transform into another form of energy, which is your emotion. And then that emotional energy begins to transform into another form of energy, which is your behavior. And that behavior then begins to morph into another form of energy, which we call habit. And then that habit begins to morph into another form of energy, which is your character. And ultimately, what started as a thought energy will transform you into an outcome of what that thought energy was destined to be, your destiny. See how many turns energy took? Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy can only transform itself into another state. That's what you need to understand. So if you're one who wakes up with low energy, the outcome of your day cannot be nothing but the outcome of low energy. So when I get out of the bed in the morning, if anybody is staying in my house, I get up like, what's up? I literally, if you ask my kids that I'm keeping this summer, they would tell you, Aunt Marnita, you are always on 10. You know why? And I don't do this. I think I started off doing it intentionally a long time ago, but now it's just a habit. And so when y'all see me, most people greet me as Dr. Marnita on fire. They know. So low energy can only produce low outcome. So for those of you who are looking to increase your financial position, low energy cannot result in higher income. It can only result in lower income. Y'all feel me? Did you hear what I just said? So when you get up in the morning and you have high energy, and let's take it back to the financial point. So if you want to increase your revenue 10 times, 30 times, 50 times, you have to always be in a state of high energy, because high energy produces high outcomes. That's the first law. Y'all okay with this?
Yep.
I'm not fussing at y'all because you know I love y'all. But I need you to know, if you want high outcomes, You have to have high energy. So when I ask, this really hurts me because when I ask the average person, how you doing today? I'm okay. I can tell you broke. Or you dealing with some stuff. And when I say broke, let me explain to you, because sometimes it's not all about money, but it is. But it really is, because most people say, well, it's not all about money, right? But everything that's around, everything that you need requires money. So I don't want to hear it. It's about a mindset. Own it. Own it. So when I talk about outcomes, I'm talking about the energy that you will want to sustain is going to add more value to you in several ways. It's going to give you more energy to invest in relationships that are important to you. They're relationships that matter. It's going to give you financial freedom. And most people say, well, maybe somebody don't want financial freedom. I think they're lying to themselves because they've been taught that. And what I'm here to teach you is share with you is you don't have to think that way just because someone taught that to you. We were meant to have abundance, abundantly more than all that we can even ask or think. Now that's truth. It comes from the word. We were meant to have it abundantly more than anything that we can ask or think. Okay. Third is, the value of having energy is meaning having more energy that you can put towards hope, happiness, and a healthy mind, body, and spirit, because you need all three. Y'all listening to me? And another value added for that is having the energy to create options for more opportunity to be an overcomer. I'm going to say that one again, right? To create options to have more opportunity to be an overcomer. Okay? That's what high energy gets you. And that's what being in alignment with your purpose gets you too. That's why I created P3 Purposepreneur. The biggest enemy we have? What's the biggest enemy? What do you consider your biggest enemy to be?
Mindset.
Yes. That's one. What, anybody else?
That's mine too.
Mine too. Okay. And I'll put an adjective on that. How about an average mindset? An average mindset is our biggest enemy. We weren't meant to be average people. We are great beyond all measure. We were given dominion over our territory, but we weren't raised that way. We were raised to conform to systems, whether it be educational, professional. We were raised to conform, to carry out the thought patterns of others, and to relegate our thought patterns because we too busy working on somebody else's. Y'all hear me this morning? All right. Can I leave energy there right there for right now? Because I want to get to the second law. The second law is the law of entropy. And the law of entropy states, as one goes forward in time, the net degree of disorder of any isolated or closed system will always increase. I'm going to give you that one again. Okay. As we go forward in time, the net degree of disorder of any isolated or closed system will always increase. Everything in a closed system goes to disorder. Kind of reminds you of COVID, right? The whole isolation deal. People's lives have been compromised because of the isolation that we had to endure. And we were in a state of entropy because we were we were forced into this closed system. And if you didn't do anything, if you didn't bring anything into your isolation, mentally, physically, or spiritually, you could feel things begin to disintegrate. You could feel it. It was so tangible. And you see it in so many people right now today as we speak. So what that means is you always want to be doing something to pull the weeds out of your story, out of your life, because if you don't do anything to them, they will grow and overtake your essence, the true essence of who you are. If you don't brush your teeth every day, what's going to happen? They're going to stay isolated in your mouth, and what's going to happen? You're going to lose them. You're going to lose them. So that's the second law. You always want to be doing something to cultivate your true essence. The powerful person that you are. The third law. Y'all ready? The law of polarity. The law of polarity. Now, the law of polarity says that everything is dual. Everything is dual in nature. If I have a piece of paper, one side of the paper cannot exist without the other side. It wouldn't be paper if it just had one side, right? If you pick up anything in your house, it has more than one side. Everything in the universe exists in duality. There's always a positive side and a negative side. If it wasn't so, things could not exist. So everything has two different poles, positive and negative. They are like and unlike in the same degree, but they are like and unlike and are the same. But opposites are identical in nature. The difference being is the degree in which they manifest things. The difference between the two is the degree in which they manifest things. So if you have a situation, that is a fact for you in your life, there's two sides to that situation. What's going to determine the outcome of that situation is which side you're going to choose to focus on. Are you going to choose to focus on the positive side, or are you going to choose to focus on the negative side? And I said choice, right? Because you do have two choices in that particular instance to simplify things. But that's going to be based on your belief in the outcome that you want to see. So on one side of belief, you have what we call doubt. And then on the other side of belief, we have what we would call faith. Now, we weren't born with any beliefs at all. all of our beliefs have been given to us. We have been indoctrinated with beliefs from our community, our culture, our schooling, everything that we have come in contact with. We have been indoctrinated with some sort of belief because we didn't come here with belief. So as we get older, most of us, if we are aware enough, we will spend a lifetime trying to undo some of the beliefs that we have been indoctrinated with because they're not principles. We were having this conversation earlier. Deb, they're not principles. They're somebody else's belief that we took on because more than likely the people who gave us those beliefs were our caretakers and people who only wanted the best for us and people who we paid to educate us, right? So knowing that you have two sides of belief, faith and doubt, whichever one you choose based on whichever side of the polarity of your fact exists, whichever one you choose to focus on is going to create a certain emotion. So if you focus on faith, it's going to, belief is dynamic. It travels to your heart. And your heart produces a certain type of emotion. So if doubt travels to your heart, it's going to produce an emotion that's going to yield an outcome that you don't want to happen, that you don't want to see happen. But that's what you see happening because you don't believe, you have doubt. And doubt brings about anxiousness, stress, chaos, right? Some would say fear, but it's really not fear because people use fear often incorrectly because fear is a word that is used or should be used when you're in imminent danger. Like if I was about to walk out this door and be hit by a car, ran over by a motorcycle, fear is an appropriate emotion for that because I'm in fear of my life and I'm going to react based on an imminent danger. But most of us use fear not for an imminent circumstance that we're facing, but for a futuristic circumstance that we create in our mind, which is not true. So don't use fear. I don't want to use fear here. So when doubt travels to our heart, it creates, let's say, anxiety. And anxiety provokes a certain behavior, which is paralysis. It leaves us powerless. So we won't do anything because we foresee something that we don't want to happen and we believe it's going to happen. But when faith travels to our heart, faith means that we see an outcome of what we would like to happen. So that brings about a feeling of anticipation. It brings about a feeling of anticipation. And anticipation makes you feel a certain way. It makes you feel joyful, hopeful. It's like you ready, like, bring it on. I'm ready to do this because I got to get to that outcome that I want to see happen. So it empowers you. Faith empowers you because you can see something that we don't even see in this present moment that you're about to create. How motivating is that? How motivating is that? So you have to decide. And when you decide, a decision cuts away all of the other options. But often we don't make enough decisions. We don't decide. And success requires quick decisions. I don't need you to think about it for 2 days. If it feels right in your heart, I need you to do it now. So if something feels right in your heart, you don't have to think about it. You've probably been going through life thinking about things like, and then you think about the thing, then somebody else goes and do it. Like, I was thinking about doing something like that. The difference between you and them is that they did it now. You had to wait 5 months, 5 years before you decided to decide to take action on it. Y'all good with the law of polarity? If you are, put yes in the chat. The law of polarity, yes. Is this good for anybody on the call today? Is this good information?
I think it's very good. I think it's helping me already.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
I didn't think of it like that.
Okay, fair enough. I told you I had something good for you today. And these are principles. Remember, Deb and I started this conversation talking about principles. These are immutable. They work with everything. I'm taking what I learned in physics. Y'all know I have a PhD in chemistry, right? I'm taking what I learned in physics and applying it to us, ourselves, our being, of how to scale who we are. Does that make sense? All right. The next is the law of inertia. The law of inertia. The law of inertia states that an object at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. An object at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. Couch potatoes. Netflix bingers.
That's true.
All those people who waiting for the job to come to them. All of those people who's waiting for opportunity to come to them.
Mm-hmm.
The question then becomes, what is the outside force that's going to make you move? And you know, sometimes we're working, we doing our thing and working. Sometimes we don't see the results that the work is doing. But I am here to encourage you that you may not see the work you may not see what the work is doing on you on the outside, but that's because the work that you're doing is working on you on the inside. Do I need to say that again? Deb said yes. So you're working. I think all of us has been in that particular situation as at any point in our life. We're working and we're trying to get the results of the effort that we're putting in, and we're doing the thing, but we can't see the results of the thing that we're working towards. But it's not that the work is not working. It's working, but it's working in you to allow you to become the person that can sustain what it is you're trying to get. Work is always working, whether you see it or not. It's like putting a seed in the ground and you're toiling the soil and you're putting fertilizer on it. And that could be happening for months. That doesn't mean that the seed is not benefiting from the work that's being done on around it. The work is working. Eventually, you're going to see something peek up through the dirt. And then you'll see the efforts, the harvest of your labor. So all work works. So continue to work to move something, to overcome the inertia of just standing still and doing nothing. Always be active, always be doing something just a little bit at a time. Just keep doing it until you see the results. But don't give up, because as soon as you give up, all that work that you didn't see the harvest of the work on the outside, but that work was working on you. You just haven't worked long enough. So what is the force that you're willing to apply in order to overcome inertia? And then the fifth law I want to talk about is the law of momentum. The law of momentum, which states that an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. Object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. Which means once you get it going, keep it moving. Now, what could be an outside force that could slow down your momentum? Somebody criticizing you? Are you still doing that little thing? What else could be a force that could slow down your momentum? An outside force. Gas prices. Let's be real. Huh. Gas prices, right?
Inflation now.
Inflation now, that could be a force that's slow. That now I'm gonna say this right now. That could slow down your momentum. Doesn't have to. Why doesn't it have to? You know why? Because it depends on whose story you living into. Are you living into culture's story, or are you living into your own story? Are you living into your what do you call it? I have like in your investment portfolio, and because the stock market hasn't been so well over the past couple of months, are you living into that? That's not real. Or are you living into your own story, which is your purpose? That's why it is so important to uncover your purpose. What is your creative zone? Money can't slow you down because the time that you invest in something is always infinitely more powerful than money, or worth more than money. The only thing that can really slow you down if time is taken away from you. And when time is taken away from you, guess what? We have put you under the ground, or we have cremated you. So what I'm telling you today, room, no excuses. No excuses. You either all in or you're not. Now, who's all in? Deb's all in. Who's all in? All in the chat. Let me see it. All in. I'm gonna wait on it. I'm gonna wait on it. I'm gonna wait on it. I'm like, comment in the section. I'm gonna wait on it. Who's all in?
I have to laugh that you said no excuses, because the other day I met a girl and we talked and we decided to do this, eating better and exercising. And that was the last thing she said to me, no excuses. And I thought, I wasn't sure I liked that, but you know what? It's exactly right. And I've been saying that to myself every day since.
No excuses, girl. No excuses.
Dr. Marnita.
Yes.
I don't mean to make an excuse. In order to get this duplex, triplex, fourplex, I need more money.
So create it. Create something that you can sell. And I'm about to make y'all offer in a minute. Create something that you can sell to some, because all the money, Miss Sunshine, let me tell you this. If nothing can be ever created or destroyed, right? That means all the money that you're looking for is in somebody else's pocket. I said a mouthful there. I know it. And once I understood that, and once I began to live into what I was born for, I can service people to the highest level and make a difference in their life, and they will pay me whatever I ask. Why? Because I'm adding value to their life. If you don't have enough money, create something of value to service somebody else with it as at the highest level, and create a stream of income for yourself. Don't depend on your retirement. You are still a living being. Invest in yourself to create options for more opportunity to be an overcomer. I'm not fussing at you, Miss Sunshine. I love you. You know that, right?
I appreciate you, you know, I do. I appreciate you. We always tracking, so no, bring it on, sister.
I'm just saying we have too much value within. So, which brings me back. I had this, I put together this entire conversation because it is so important. All of those laws is so important because it allows you to be the person who can do the thing so they can have the thing. And y'all all have something in you that has value for somebody else, and that other person that it has value for is waiting for you to show up. But you have to become that person to do that thing, to have those things that you want. You cannot rely on the stock market. You cannot rely on your retirement. You cannot rely on your salary. It is not ever going to be enough. Ever. Ever. My great nephew, he'll be 14 tomorrow. Like in high school, I worked at McDonald's. What other job did I have? I worked at GE. I think I had one, like as a teenager, I worked at a pizza place when I was a teenager. And I did work at a barbecue joint, right? I was about, 15, 16. My nephew will be 14 tomorrow. If he listens to me, he will never, ever be in a position where he will have to trade time for money. Ever. Ever. He started his business yesterday. His first client, he's having a consultation with her this Wednesday at 14. At 14, he's positioned himself to make $80 an hour. How many people you know out there as an adult making $80 an hour based on his knowledge? But that didn't just happen. That did not just happen. I have been talking to that boy. I have been allowing him to uncover his purpose. He was the keynote speaker. He was the keynote speaker at a teen youth church conference a couple of weeks ago at 13. How many adults are so afraid of speaking in front of people? You have to start. Yes, he's young, but you have to start. It is not going to be perfect. Do it unperfect until you get your reps in. Do it imperfect. I'm sorry. Do it imperfect until you get your reps in. See, we looking for it to be just right. You know, we looking for all the T's to be crossed. Y'all used to hear that saying, you have to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. Stop it. You don't have to cross all your T's and dot your I's. You have to do it imperfectly. People say, well, I can't, like, I have 2 coaches. There's like coach and there's mentors, right? A mentor is someone who imparts their education, expertise, and insight. They impart that into you. Hopefully that it will have an impact in what it is that you do. A coach helps to pull out of you the best of you that you can't see. Y'all see the difference? Do y'all see the difference?
Can you say again what a coach does?
A coach, you pay a coach to pull out the best in you that you can't see that's in you. You can't see yourself. Deb, there's a speaker in you. Deb, there's an author in you. You see, you shaking your head, right?
I don't feel like that.
I understand that. There's a reason, Deb, there's a reason you don't feel like that. Exactly. But when I talk to you and what you were sharing with me, like you were articulating principles to this person, right?
Yep.
How many other people outside this other person that you were talking, how many other people would love to know the principles that you live by that has helped you rise up to a certain level in order to have impact on their lives? You have it in you, Deb, but nobody ever told you you did.
Right.
What a coach does, like, Deb, you got that in you. What can we do to create action around that for you? A coach pulls that out of you. A coach sees in you what you can't see in yourself. That's why positioning yourselves in the right room is so important. That's why y'all have things that y'all can put together, and there are skills that you have that you can put together and do and sell to somebody. All the money you're looking for, guess what? It's in somebody else's pocket. Learn how to service people well at the highest level, add value to their lives, and you will never be without income, ever. Ever. Are y'all hearing what I'm telling you right now? It really doesn't matter whether you believe it right now or not. It was my responsibility to plant the seed. I'm gonna tell y'all what one of my coaches told us, okay? I have 2 great coaches and I paid a lot of money for them. I paid a lot of money. I paid money that I didn't have because, and this is going to tell you why I did that, right? One of my coaches said, he said, let me let you in on a secret. Poor people know the price of everything and the value of almost nothing. I'm gonna say that one again because it's so true. Poor people know the price of everything and the value of almost nothing.
That's true. I agree with you.
Okay. And then he says, rich people know the value of everything and the price of almost nothing. Rich people know the value of everything and the price of almost nothing. Y'all hearing what I'm saying? he says, what am I saying? He's like so brutal. He said, what am I saying? He says, if you want to be successful, stop thinking only in terms of price. Who's ever told us that? Nobody. He said, if you find something that is valuable, then find a way to pay for it. If you find, listen to what I just said. Now, this last sentence really took me, right? If you find something that is valuable, find a way to pay for it. Because if either anybody in this room had kids and that kid was terminal and their life could be saved, you would make a way to find the resources to pay for whatever that child needed in order to be saved. So not having the resources is an excuse. Oftentimes, we may find something like, I really need that, but I don't have the money. As soon as you say, remember, everything is energy. Let's go back to our law of energy. Everything is energy. As soon as we say, I don't have the money, you are creating that into your world because it turns into another form of energy of lack of what you don't have. If anything, if you see something of value, instead of saying, I don't have the money, saying, I'm going to find a way to find the money for that. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to have that. I'm going to find that money. It produces a different emotion. That gets back to the law of polarity. It produces a different emotion because when you say, I'm going to find that money, you have anticipation. When you say, I don't have the money, it produces anxiousness. It paralyzes you. It makes you powerless. Y'all feel me? So I have and I'm going to take some aha moments after this. I have a challenge. But I want to share this last part before I tell you about the challenge. You know, what I've been doing really, and this is for me, and if, you know, I'm not trying to put anything on anyone in this room, but everything that I've been doing thus far, and it's really been amazing in my life, I've been taking all of my content and I said, where does it show up in the Bible? Because for me, the Bible is a basic instruction in life before leaving earth. The basic instruction in life before leaving earth. It's truth. It's been in play for over 2,000 years, okay? And for me, it's like, I looked up motivation because I was having this conversation with y'all today. And I looked up motivation, and motivation appears, and you can look it up yourself if you choose to do so in the Bible a lot of times. But this one section I pulled out today, it says Jesus set the example for our motivation in his life. He says, my food is to do, that's a good one all by itself. My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. We were all made in the likeness of God. God made three things: creation, creatures, and creators. He made creation, creatures, and creators. The creators was us, is us. We were made to be creators. We were made to create infinitely. We weren't meant to follow patterns. We were meant to make patterns. That's why I call P3 purposepreneurs pattern makers. We were meant to create patterns. We are relying on a system to feed us. Now, I'm not telling y'all to go quit your jobs. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying, there are 24 hours in any day. What I am saying, dedicate some of that time to being a creator. That's what I'm saying. So with that being said, I have a challenge coming up. And I'd like to thank Leslie because she's been going back and forth with me on not only the title, but the subtitle and all of that. And it's going to be the last week of June. And it's called Discovering Your Purpose in Your Problem. 5-day challenge. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's a 5-day challenge, discovering your purpose in your problem, the 5 secrets that steals your family legacy. There's 2 rooms that you can get into. There is the general admission room. And then there's the VIP experience. So the VIP one it differs because you get 2 hours of me. And the first hour is Q&A. You get 2 hours of me. And you get an hour at 11, from 11 to 12, and then from 12 to 1, we will join the general admission. VIP session, we will be raffling a iPad for those who sign up. At the end of the challenge, we're going to go live and we're going to raffle off an iPad. It's going to be an amazing week. I think it's going to be a week you don't want to miss. And so that's my offer for you today. So what are your ahas from today's conversation?
No, I think there was just too much.
So give me one takeaway. What really, are y'all serious? Was that too much for real?
No, it was good. It was very good. My head is spinning with it all right now.
Okay.
To me,
But wait till you come to the challenge, girl. Like, I got so much more. Like, I just gave you a little bit. Have y'all heard 50 Cent like record? All I need is just a little bit. So what's the takeaway?
To uncover your purpose if you don't know it. It's always the same, right? Which that goes back to motivation, which goes back to what I said at the beginning, which I remember the day you said, you got to have a vision, right? At the end of the day, for me, that's what it is. Like, what is the vision that's big enough that's going to motivate you to move? I agree with every single word you said. And I think that it was very well put together, right? And to me, it still comes back to understanding your purpose and figuring out what you're willing to do to have whatever it is you want, right? You said a decision cuts away other options, and you have to be able to make a quick decision and take action. And I know that, right? I know that, right? Yet I still overthink. I still slow think.
Loves speed, girl. Success loves speed.
Right,
Success loves
exactly.
speed.
And the whole thing about that whole cross your I's, dot your T's, I love that example, right?
Oh, but when I'm encouraged on it, I mean, I hope I see y'all at the challenge because I got so much to share with y'all. Like, I haven't even begun to touch. Don't forget to follow us on the social media platforms. The Instagrams I put in the chat, the YouTube channel. I'm trying to get the YouTube channel for P3 Purposepreneur. We're at 47 right now. I'm trying to get it to 100 subscribers. And so we can continue to add great content that was going to help people and impact them in a way and service people at the highest level. And I wish y'all the best until next month. Hopefully I'll see you in the challenge.
Hello, I am Dr. Marnita On Fire from P3 Purposepreneur TV. Thank you for stopping by our channel today, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If so, like, subscribe, share, and leave a purposeful comment. Again, from P3 Purposepreneur TV, where purposepreneurs are pattern makers and pattern makers are move makers. Goodbye.